So, you just started playing the First Descendant, and you're currently feeling a bit lost. Don't worry, you're in the right place. Welcome to my ultimate beginner's guide to the First Descendant, where I'll walk you through the most important parts to get you started and help you progress through this awesome free-to-play looter shooter. If you're new here, make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell for more awesome gaming content. I'll be dropping an early game bunny build in a couple of days, but for now, let's get into the basics. First things first, let's talk about settings. Before you start playing the game, I highly advise you to go through the settings menu. The right settings can make or break your gaming experience, so here are a few quick tips to optimize your game. The right settings for graphics. Open up your settings menu and turn on performance mode. Choosing performance mode over the fidelity mode will offer a more smoother gameplay experience, especially if your PC or console struggles with high graphics settings. Performance mode prioritizes the frame rate, which is crucial for this fast-paced looter shooter. Also, turn off motion blur. This will make the visuals look clearer when you're turning around. This should only be turned on if you're prone for motion sickness when playing video games. The gameplay settings. Let's move on to the gameplay tab. Here I recommend turning on all the damage display options and showing the status effect text. For a looter shooter like the First Descendant, it's important to see how much damage you're doing and how much health or shield an enemy has left, and what the status effects are that are in play. This information is important during combat, so you know more about the way your descendant is performing. Here is an example in-game of what these settings look like. The audio section is not really important in this game. It's not as important as in games such as Call of Duty or Apex Legends. Therefore, I would just recommend using the default settings and change them to fit your preferences. Now, let's move on to the display tab. I play on console, so these settings might be different than the settings on PC. What I recommend here is to play without HDR turned on. In my opinion, this game looks a lot better without this setting, but this all depends on the monitor that you are using, of course. I have my brightness set to 7 and my contrast also set to 7. The most important setting in this tab is the field of view setting. I have put this to 105. For me, that is the sweet spot for most games I play. I had the feeling my game lagged a bit more on a higher FOV than 105, so that's why I put it at 105. A higher field of view will give you a wider view of the battlefield, helping you spot the enemies and navigate more effectively. Play around with the settings to find out what's most comfortable for you. I would recommend putting it at least at 90. The last setting tab is the controller tab. If you play on mouse and keyboard, I can't really help you out here, as I play on the PS5. For the PS5, I would recommend putting your cursor speed to 25. This will make it easier for you to go through the menus. Next, you can put vibration on or off. For a looter shooter, I usually keep it on. I always put it off in competitive games, but for this game, it doesn't really matter. Next, I would recommend putting your sensitivity around 70 to 50 and keep the aim assist the same. If you want, you can change your button layout as well. I, for example, have put dodge on my R3 button and jump on my R1. This is so I don't let go of my joysticks while playing the game, but feel free to find out what suits you best. If you have back buttons, this is not a problem for you, of course. Now that your settings are dialed in, it's time for you to choose your first descendant. Oh no, who should I choose? Yes, this is the exact reaction I had, with the fear of missing something out. But don't worry, all descendants can be unlocked by playing the game, and each descendant has something to bring to the table. In the beginning, you can choose 3. Lepic, Viessa, and Ajax. Let me explain these three in short. Lepic. Lepic is a DPS. He's perfect for players who love high impact combat. With his advanced prosthetic arm and explosive grenades, he delivers massive damage very quickly. His special ability lets him ignore fatal damage and heal, but it has a cooldown. Lepic's skill includes a grenade throw, attack boosts, pulling enemies together and continuously damaging them with his attack. He's straightforward and powerful. He's great for beginners and offers a strong DPS support. Viessa is a bit different than Lepic. She's a debuffer but also a DPSer and requires a bit more strategy. She needs to get up close to her enemies to use her Ice Shackles abilities, which can be risky since she doesn't have strong defensive capabilities. However, she can control and damage large groups of enemies with her ice abilities, making her incredibly powerful when used correctly. I chose Viessa on my first playthrough and I had a lot of fun playing her. Ajax, the tanky boy. I would say Ajax will keep you alive and is an easy to play tank role. If you want to go through the bosses without dying too much, you're better off playing Ajax. He excels at absorbing damage and protecting his teammates, making him perfect for players who prefer straightforward and durable characters. And then there's Bunny. You cannot pick her at the start, but you'll see her in the starting screen selection. You unlock her early through your story progression. Bunny is great for easy farming and mobbing. She has low health and defense, but she deals a lot of damage and is good for mobbing. Her fast-paced hit-and-run style makes her one of the best choices in the game. I would recommend playing her as soon as you unlock her, so it's easy to farm items and go through the game. There is no right or wrong choice when picking your first Descendant. Ajax will keep you alive and is easy to play as a tank. Viessa is a bit more difficult and needs more strategy. Lepic is a great DPS support that fits somewhere in between these two. Personally, I chose Viessa on my first playthrough, but if you want to tackle the bosses without dying too much, you're better off playing Ajax. Now that you have chosen your first Descendant, you can now start the looting and the shooting. This is all pretty straightforward. You start in a location called Albion, which is the main hub of the game. It's similar to the tower in Destiny 2. There are a total of 9 main locations on your map menu. By playing the quests given by the NPCs, which are shown by the pink marker, you'll progress through the story and through the different maps. There are many different mission types. Some will take you 3 minutes, while others 5 to 10. These missions are all straightforward, and after each main location, you'll get the opportunity to do a boss fight. Let's talk about the important mission type Void Intercept Battle. This is a boss fight, where you take on a Colossus and it gets you to a new map location. There are a total of 8 bosses in the menu. To start, go to your world map and select Void Intercept, or talk to Seneca in Albion. Check the Intercept start screen for info on the weak points of the Colossus, the recommended resistant, and the destructible parts. Make sure your gear and descendants are ready for the fight. During the battle, you can use your scan to spot parts of the Colossus that you can destroy. If an area glows yellow, you can use your grappling hook to remove it. I strongly recommend doing these bosses solo, especially for a boss called the Devourer. Bosses scale with the party size, and the Devourer has healing phases that are much more difficult with a full team, but are easily done solo. So take on these hard bosses solo for a smoother experience. Beating the boss will grant you high level gear and allow you to reconstruct Amorphous material. Now, what is this material? I didn't have a clue when I started playing the game, and I thought it was just a reward from the boss itself, but I was wrong. I will tell you more about Amorphous material later on in this video. What's up with all the material in this game? It's like a never-ending recipe, am I right? Well, yes. This is a looter shooter, so there is a grind. It all revolves around loot, rewards, material, and the crafting of things. I will give you the basics on how this works. Every mission will show you what you can unlock, and it shows the chances of the items dropping. Make sure to scroll down on the mission to see the full list of rewards that can drop. For modules, external components, and materials, the reward types are normal, rare, ultimate, and transcendent, each being more difficult to obtain. For weapons, the categories are standard, rare, and ultimate, with the ultimate weapons only being craftable at the research station. Most materials are straightforward, as the crafting station shows you which items you need to build certain weapons or enhanced materials. These are blueprints, certain codes, other materials which you can find on different locations and missions. But one item, the Amorphous material, is a bit different. Think of it as a key for a loot box. Each key or Amorphous material has a number. These keys give you a chance to unlock different types of material, often very good ones needed for guns or unlocking a descendant. These are shown in the Void Intercept menu. You can only use one Amorphous material after each fight, and each boss has 4 linked Amorphous materials. Without the right Amorphous material for a boss, you won't be able to use the machine at the end. Now that we covered this, let's talk about weapons in the First Descendant. There are 3 different tiers: normal, rare, ultimate. And you have 11 types of guns, each using one of the 4 ammo types, which are general rounds, special rounds, impact rounds, and high-powered rounds. I typically use a submachine gun, a light machine gun, and a rocket launcher. You get weapons as mission rewards and from enemy drops. It's smart to choose a weapon that uses general rounds since they're easier to find and you won't run out of ammo as often. I would recommend using the Thunder Cage SMG, an ultimate gun you can unlock quite early in the game. The Tamer, the Eternal Willpower, the Magnus AA, and Omnius Hound are also good guns to use early in the game. In the weapon list, you can see all your weapons organized by ammo type. Once you've acquired a weapon, it shows its proficiency, module slots, and any unique abilities. Don't forget to dismantle guns you don't need to keep your inventory manageable. Keep higher level guns to upgrade your current ones by registering them as protected items. You can do this by clicking L2. Upgrading a gun is simple. Take a higher level gun to the upgrade workbench, select the gun to upgrade, and slot in the higher level gun. You'll need specific materials, which can be crafted at the crafting station. Different rarities require different materials. There's also a weapon readjustment section. These are used for buffs. Here, I would focus on increasing firearm attack, critical percentage and critical damage, and bonus attack versus Colossus. This becomes crucial at higher levels. You can reroll buffs and lock the ones you like, but locking them requires more material. Ultimate weapons have a unique upgrading path. These upgrades enhance the weapon's special skills. For example, upgrading the Thunder Cage increases the chance of its electricity bubble spawning. To upgrade an ultimate weapon, you need to slot in the same ultimate weapon, which you can craft at the research station. You can upgrade your ultimate weapon 4 times. Make sure to put in the right weapon for the upgrade. Here's an example of how I upgraded the Thunder Cage to increase the ultimate capabilities. Now, let's talk about reactors. Reactors are crucial equipment that boost the power of your descendant skills. Each descendant has a specific attribute for their skills, and each reactor supports a particular attribute. To maximize your skill power, check the skill power boost ratio in the Reactors items tooltip. Equip a reactor that matches your descendant skill attributes to get the best performance boost. Reactors also have an optimization condition that allows you to receive a higher level skill power boost. These conditions can be found in the Reactors tooltip and often includes requirements like having a certain type of weapon equipped. Meeting these conditions can give you an additional skill power boost, so always check if your setup meets the criteria for the maximum efficiency. You will be getting a lot of different reactors from missions, and there's no need to upgrade them at lower levels, as the upgrade won't do that much. It's much better to keep the material for the upgrades for higher levels later on. You can upgrade the reactor at the workbench station. Now let's talk about external components. These are critical for enhancing your descendants' overall performance. You can see them as your armor in this game. External components include auxiliary power, sensors, memory, and processors. Equipping these components increases your descendants' HP, defense, and shield. They come in different rarities, which determine their effectiveness. Higher rarity components provide better stat boosts. To get even more out of your setup, look for external components that have set effects. When you equip a full set, you get additional stat boosts that can make a big difference in battle. You can't upgrade these components, so focus on collecting higher rarity pieces to optimize your build. Always pay attention to the components you pick up and try to complete sets for those extra bonuses. External components can really enhance your survivability and effectiveness in combat. At lower levels they are not that important, but at higher levels they can really improve your overall build quality. Now, let's get into the modules. Modules can enhance your descendants and weapons, allowing for further customization. They can really make or break your build. Modules come in 4 rarities: normal, rare, ultimate, and transcendent. They can be generic, usable by any character or weapon, or unique, providing specific boosts. You can find modules by completing missions. To equip modules, you can open your inventory. Here you can check the weapon modules and descendant modules. You will be greeted by a slotting screen. Each module takes up capacity, so manage it wisely. You can increase your module capacity by visiting the research center and talking to Anis about the energy activators. These items let you equip more and better modules, which are needed for you to defeat higher level bosses later on in the game. You can enhance modules through Chillin and Albion, using gold and Kuiper shards. Kuiper shards are gained from dismantling unwanted modules or by missions and opening vaults. Make sure to dismantle duplicate modules, as you'll be getting a lot of modules while playing the game, and Kuiper shards are materials you'll be using a lot. Higher level modules take more capacity but offer better stats. You can also combine modules at Chillin, and they will create new random mods. But it's better just to dismantle them, as you'll be earning most of the mods by just playing the game. For beginners, I would strongly recommend on modules that increase HP, defense, and overall improve your skills. Once you're comfortable, experiment with different modules to suit your playstyle and descendant. Now, let's talk about how module capacity works. Every gun and descendant has a certain amount of module capacity, which can be upgraded through mastery levels and certain materials. Upgrading a module increases its capacity cost, so it's better to have a few higher level mods than many low level ones. High level mods exponentially increase their effects, so it's usually better to have 2 mods that are level 5, for example, than have 5 mods that are level 1. There's also another way to increase the capacity of mods. You can equip a sub-module. These are your melee options or zipline options. When you upgrade these mods, the total capacity of your descendant will go up, so make sure to upgrade this mod. Let's tackle the crafting, the farming, and the use of the Access Info menu. Players are able to research things once they meet Anis. Materials can be found in certain ways, but each region has its own unique materials that are available. You can research descendants, weapons, descendant material, weapon material, and enhancement materials. Each material has their own specific purposes. Research is a system that allows you to acquire desired items after completing a research request, using material items and gold. Enter the laboratory by speaking to Anis in Albion to check the necessary materials and gold required for a certain item. You can research a total of 5 items at any given period, and each item has a certain set time allocated for the research. The research station is a location where you will be able to research and unlock new descendants, ultimate weapons, and upgrade material. But there's so many materials. How in the world can I farm these efficiently? Well, there's a specific function for this called the Access Info menu. The Access Info menu is your friend, so use it. When you go into this menu, you can see all the items and materials in the game. You can also track items and highlight where to acquire them. This is your way to loot and farm for specific items you want in the game. But be aware, if you haven't unlocked a certain place where this item can be obtained, you cannot go there yet. Let's take for example the descendant called Freyna. In the quick menu you can see all the material you need to research or unlock her. I already had the blueprint through the Amorphous material and only needed one more item to unlock her. What I did next is to click on acquisition info and track the items. As you know, there's a certain chance of getting the item, so don't worry if you don't get it after the first mission try. You can press L1 and the analog stick to the left to restart the mission fast. Just redo the mission for the specific part, and when you get it, return to the research station to research the full product. I did this mission a total of 8 times, and the item finally dropped. So now I can build and unlock Freyna at the research station. Now let's get into the leveling in the First Descendant. There are 3 types of leveling: gun proficiency level, descendant level, and mastery rank level. Descendant levels are straightforward. Each descendant can be leveled up to level 40. As you play with a specific descendant, you gain XP, boosting their stats and unlocking new abilities. You'll eventually get access to multiple descendants, and you can level them up simultaneously with your mastery rank. Weapon proficiency is the level of your gun. This also goes to level 40. At level 40, you have the chance to upgrade your socket type on your gun via material. This will set your gun back to level 1, but gives you the opportunity to halve the module cost by allocating the right socket type. Mastery rank is your overall profile level. It applies across all the descendants and impacts your gear capacity, the level of gear you can equip, and unique weapon abilities. You earn mastery rank XP by completing missions for the first time, leveling up your descendant or weapon proficiency. Start by completing the story with your first descendant, gathering materials, and unlocking a second descendant. Replay old missions with the new descendant to continue gaining XP. Also make sure to use weapons that have low weapon proficiency, as when your gun is level 40, you won't be getting any additional XP for your mastery rank. Once you have enough XP, head back to the main hub in Albion. Look for the Prime Hands terminal next to the giant robot hands to rank up and apply your mastery rank benefits. There's no cost to unlocking these ranks, so claim them as soon as possible. One thing to note about the difficulty in this game: once you completed the map location quests and the interceptor battles, you can unlock hard mode. Hard mode will make the game a lot more difficult, but it also increases the chances of you getting higher level loot. But for a beginner's guide, this is not that important. Now that I showed you all the basics, I will now give you a quick build to get you on your way. I'll be showing you the descendant mods, the weapon, and weapon mods for the early game. A more detailed build for later in the game will be uploaded soon on my channel, and will be linked at the end of the video, so feel free to click on it. I'll be using Bunny as an example. I know I have a high module capacity of 80 now, because I'm a higher level, but I will show you an early build for around 50. For weapons, I use the Thunder Cage and the Tamer. For the buffs on the weapons, I would focus on increasing firearm attack, critical percentage, and bonus attack versus Colossus. For the weapon modules, I would focus on these: Action and Reaction, which increases firearm attack and recoil; Better Concentration, which increases the critical hit damage percentage; better insight, which increases the firearm critical hit rate. These two really stack together, better concentration and better insight. Next, I will look at rifling reinforcement, which increases the firearm attack. As an extra module, you can add chill enchantment, which adds a chill attack, which is often very handy to freeze mobs. For the descendant, make sure to go for HP and defense, especially for Bunny, as she is a glass cannon. Make sure to equip the modules at the right module socket type, so costs are halved. Also make sure to use the sub module. I here use the short sword, which I upgraded so it gives me 10 extra capacity. The modules I used for Bunny are increased defense, increased HP, nimble fingers, strong mentality, technician, and skill expansion. These are good to use as they give me survivability, but also improves the skill cooldown, the skill power, and the skill range. A quick recap of the build. For the gun buffs, I would focus on increasing firearm attack, critical hit damage and crit hit chance, and bonus attack versus Colossus. For the weapon mods, I would focus on firearm attack, critical hit damage, critical hit chance, and chill attack. For the descendant mods, I would go for HP and defense, and mods that improve overall skill power and lower the skill costs. I know I've probably missed a few things in this guide, but there's just so much to cover in the First Descendant. I hope you enjoyed this guide and found it helpful. Make sure to share it with your friends so everyone can understand the basics of the game. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments below. Also, let me know what you want to see next. I'm planning to upload an early game bunny build guide in a couple of days and much more content on the First Descendant, so stay tuned. If you found this guide helpful, give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and don't forget to subscribe for more tips and tricks. Click the recommended videos at the end of the screen for more. Also, don't worry about your loot luck, for I have seen the future and I know you will get the item you really want in your next run. But for now, see you in the next video.